Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. Lots to discuss. If you want to get a hold of us, you can reach us at KJRadio.com, as I mentioned, or you can call at 844-551-8255. It just dawned on me. Everybody's, and I'm not going to blame my producers. And to be honest with you, we could have talked about Trump's speech yesterday, but I got a lot to talk about. Had a lot to talk about. I thought yesterday was one of our best shows. I really did. And I got sidetracked. I had the notes. I'm not going to lie. My producers had, between us girls, did you guys give me the notes in time? Do you really feel like I'll fall on the sword. It was my fault. But that's okay. I had a lot to talk about. It was a great show. One of the best, in my opinion, yesterday. I hope you go back and check it out at KJRadio.com and tell friends. But let me tell you, we're going to talk about Trump's speech. But I want to talk about something else that I think is even more important. And I could do an entire show on what this lady wrote. Her name is Chanel Helm. And she is a black nationalist, an ethnocentric racist. She is one of these victims of her color. And it's funny to me. I'm trying to figure out how to bridge that gap between how somebody can believe that by birthright, somebody can be better than them. I know I should have said better than they, but you get what I'm saying. I'm standing in the maternity ward, me and a white guy looking at our babies, and I see that white baby and I go, you know what, dude, I would do anything to have your white baby. Look, I don't know what I need to do, but could I work for your family for a generation if I could have your white baby? Because that would make life so much easier for my baby. I mean, said no black man ever. No black father, anyway. No real black father. Every time one of my sons was born, I thought it was like, oh, I mean, it was the best baby in the whole lot. I hate to say this, but I felt that way. I looked at all those white babies and went, poor white babies. What are these white babies doing? These white babies have no chance with my child coming into the world. A king is born. I mean, I felt that way every single time. I'm joking. I didn't feel like white babies were less, but I'm just saying. And I looked at white fathers and I felt like, you know what? I bet they're experiencing the same thing. I bet they feel like their little white babies are the most amazing creatures on the planet. Not because they're white, because they're their babies. It's like my buddy used to say, I don't call your son because you're shine. I call your son because you're mine. God, this notion of white privilege is laughable to this black man. That's right. Kevin Jackson doesn't believe. I don't buy into it. I really don't. And I got to talk more about our certificate of forgiveness because we want to get those things out there and sold. We need to get a certificate of forgiveness into the hands of every white leftist you know. And we used to give them away for free if you signed up for the newsletter, but now we sell them because they're on parchment paper. The paper's expensive. It takes a while to print them, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, certificate of forgiveness. So long story short, all I'm saying is if you have been taught that because you're black, you are lesser, and when you see white people, they're better, shame on your teacher. Shame on your family. There is no person better than I, and I am not better than any person. We have our skill sets. I'm good at things. I'm bad at things. So are you. That's why we need community, is because there are people, and I'll tell you, there are people born this way. They're born to be artists. They're born to be mathematicians. Their minds are wired in a way, and I'm sure environment has something to do with it. But I'm just telling you, there are certain things that happen in life that you just go, that just can't happen without divine intervention. If you don't believe God has a plan, man, it's ridiculous not to believe this. When you think about the circumstances of, and I don't want to get too far afield because there's many examples where you just say, there's no way I could have done this. I'll use an example for me. I couldn't make payroll one time years ago. We were broke. I thought my company was broke. And man, we were struggling. And I went to the bank. We had like $180 or something in there. And I wasn't going to be able to pay all the employees. And I was trying to figure out who couldn't get paid. And it was a small company. It's not like it was huge, but and I was probably $3,000 short. But when you got $300 in the bank and you're $3,000 short, hadn't paid myself in months. And I go to the bank. Something told me, get up, go to the bank and check your balance. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I only had $300. When you run as close to the vest as we did, I had $300. I get to the bank, as God is my witness, and the lady says to me, yeah, in your account, sir, you have $10,300. And I went, okay. and I just pretended that oh, yeah, that's about right. Took out the money I needed to make payroll. Boom, the rest is history. Sold the company in 2 separate sales, 2 divisions, and did okay. But I'm telling you, I was in agony thinking that I wasn't going to make it. And I did make that payroll, and I did. Anyway, let's get back to the race stuff. So we have these people that believe that in America, because you're black, you're downtrodden, you can't make it. How do you think about the left and how they've convinced black people that because of your birthright, you have a disadvantage in the country where black people are the most successful blacks in the world? Unless you're in Africa where you're a dictator and you are killing people, you can't be more successful legitimately than in America. Period. End of story. And this knucklehead named Chanel Helm has written a list of things that you need to be concerned about. I shouldn't say that. A list of things that white people need to do in order to assuage their guilt. And I want to go over this list with you. I'm not going to do it this segment. We'll do it next segment. And parse it and explain the pathology that it takes to come up with something like this, because it's dangerous. Anyway, we'll discuss that. Stacey Dash spoke out recently. So did George Foreman over not Trump's speech. He spoke out over Kaepernick's event, which happened yesterday as well. And I want to talk about Donald Trump and his impact on the black community so far. Because see, folks, as I've been alluding, and not even been alluding, I've been saying it, Donald Trump's a rock star in the black community, and it's starting to show. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Can't wait to get you fired up as I am today. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So my producers are like, we told you to talk about Trump's speech, and I'm going, well, you obviously didn't forcefully enough. And they're like, can we force you? No, you can't force me, but you can, cleverly cajole me into doing it. You can nudge me. You can say, Kevin, you were doing it to cover the speech. Whatever. I know I got sidetracked. And today I want to focus on this chick, Chanel Helm. But I do want to talk about Trump's speech a little bit because I was on TV the day after. Fox Business had me on, and they want to know my take on it. And I said it's very simple. I mean, there was nothing new. That's why I feel like I didn't do a disservice to you by not talking about it. But there wasn't a whole lot new. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You don't have to have a whole lot new. What Donald Trump did was masterful in the sense that he took the news cycle and he said, let's go to a state that's under siege in immigration, and let's talk about the issues, and let's bring the spotlight back to me with respect to the news cycle. And he hammered CNN and MSNBC and those guys, the media. He hammered them, and that's it. And he's exactly right. Every time he does that, they have a conniption. I don't know if you saw it, but like Don Lemon was, he's trying to divide the country. The biggest divider in this country, bar none, I'm talking about since the 1860s, has been Barack Obama. There has been no more divisive president than Barack Obama. And Trump dispelled, I don't like his style. I'll be honest with you. I still don't like his style. And I'm sure most of you would agree. But I will tell you this. The dude knows he's a showman. And for the record, he's right. The media hates him. They are going after him, and the leftists are buying into the nonsense, and they're fomenting more hatred towards Donald Trump that doesn't need to be there when the guy's doing a lot. And it's funny that he comes out, he says, "Hey, this is what we've done. We've done this to the GDP." I think he said it's 2.7. Go look at the GDP during the time of Obama, and go look at it in his first 6 months or first 7 months of office. It's shocking. Trump talked about the amount of money he saved in regulations that he's taken away from businesses. He effectively covered his record while also demonizing the left, demonizing Congress, the Democrats in Congress. I got to tell you, from that perspective, masterful. See, what Barack Obama did was he would demonize the Republicans. Trump's demonizing the Democrats. He's also telling you Obamacare stinks. He is completely erasing the narrative. And let me tell you something, whether you know it or not, many eyes were on that press conference, that event. Many eyes were on that event. And I watched how the media covered one aspect, like the protesters. These protesters were mostly paid, or they were special interest groups who do not care about the laws of the land. If that's what you want to run your... if that's who you want to set your narrative, a bunch of illegals, people, he should let illegals in. That's not going to work. Donald Trump didn't get elected because he said, I'm going to let illegals come into the country for free. No, you're not coming into this country. We will, if you want to get in line the right way, and he's defining what the right way is. I want the best of you. And we're not taking your dregs. And the only way you're going to get in is you're going to have to bring a skill set. And it may be too onerous, and you may want to stay home because guess what? Your country needs you. I mean, from that perspective, it was all masterful. It was quintessential Trump in his delivery, and I don't have a problem with it anymore. I used to go, God, if Trump could just speak, more Reagan-esque, it's not going to happen. Get over it. Lewandowski's got a book coming out, Let Trump Be Trump. He's right. Let Trump be Trump. But the message resonated. And it was touted here in Phoenix that, it's going to be a 30-minute deal. No, I was like, no way. So Trump sees this as a rock concert. He does. And he filled the stadium. It was tough to get in. But I'm telling you, the people streaming in. It was funny to watch one of my buddies behind Trump. He's a black dude from Florida. He had blacks for Trumps and Republicans, or I think it said Trump and Republicans are not racist, blacks to something or .com. But Good guy, he's a professional singer and a good guy. And he was behind Trump raising the sign up. It was so fun to see him having such a great time. But, look, was it anything earth-shattering? No, it was Trump stating his case, essentially saying, forget what you hear. He's giving the media sound bites that they had that effectively negate them. And I'm going to tell you, he did a great job yet again of negating the media. That's his role. If he does nothing more for us than to mitigate the media, to essentially take away their power, he'll do this place by place. And what's really interesting to me is that he can fill these stadiums. And let me tell you, I'm in Phoenix now, and the people were afraid, and they streamed out there like it was nobody's business. And the city of Phoenix made sure there was not going to be any disturbances or whatever. They were ready. So this was, again, great event. Did it accomplish everything? Who knows? But from my perspective, I thought it was I thought he handled it masterfully. It was like watching Ringling Brothers organize the circus, and he's got the clowns over there, the elephants over here, and pardon the pun on both of those, but he did. He orchestrated what he wanted to do, and that's something that we haven't had in a president since Reagan. Yeah. So again, I don't know how much of that. I think that's partly the reason why I just felt like, what's the big deal? It was Donald Trump being quintessential Donald Trump. And we like this. And what was funny is if you do want to pick it apart and talk about style and things like that, forget it. What happened is, and I don't know polling and all these other things, because I think it's ridiculous that we poll for everything. But I would venture to tell you, after seeing that, the Trump's base strengthened. I would venture to tell you, every single time Donald Trump goes on TV and he does this, he's slowly starting to win over moderates and leftists who have been stuck on pomp and circumstance. They have an idea of what a president is supposed to be like. And every time Trump goes on and they go, you know what? He's real. He's down to earth. I think he wins these people over. Fox Biz asked me, what was the one thing? There was no one thing, honestly. And I searched for that. What is the one thing? And I said it was really the fact that Donald Trump will not let up on the media. He sticks to his guns. His message is clear. It reminds me of a story. I'm not going to tell the story, but whatever you're doing in life, what people want to know is when you give your opinion about something, they can count on it. And that's what it reminds me. Every time Donald Trump speaks, you get more and more confidence that he is dogmatically concerned about the state of America, making us first, and not kowtowing to the world, the new world order, etc. And I'm confident that this is what makes people slowly gravitate to him, and why the left can't find a message.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I almost had to cancel my show today. My own show. You want to know why? Because of Stonewall Jackson. That's right. That racist, tear down his statue. See, I'm just letting you know, if I don't show up tomorrow, it's because of Stonewall Jackson. He was a Southerner, Confederate. Who knew? What about Andrew Jackson? My namesake. I was named after him. I'm gonna preemptively cancel my show. I don't want anybody boycotting me because of my Southern heritage. Oh, goodness. Oh, so I was talking about this chick who has decided that she's going to get after white folks because of their your skin color. And she's written this thing. She wants 10 things that you to think about as you go through life as a white person, how you could help out black folks. And I want to analyze some of these over the next, maybe the remainder of the hour. By the way, if you want to contact us, 844-551-8255. And just for the sake of discussion, if you are so moved by this discussion we have today to donate to black people, make sure you do it to my PayPal. My PayPal account is theblacksphere@gmail.com. Let me spell that for you. THEBLACKSPHERE@gmail.com. That is my PayPal account if you decide you're going to will something over to somebody. And, feel free. If you feel the need to pay reparations, don't just choose any black. Choose me. Anyway, here's what this chick writes. Her name is Chanel Helm. And here's what she put. Some things I'm thinking about that should change. And she says, in that southern black grandmama voice. So she says, here's the way I should say this to you guys. Number one, this is the thing that should change. White people, if you don't have no descendants, will your property to a black or brown family, preferably one that lives in generational poverty. Okay. And that's the best old black woman southern voice. Well, that's pretty good. Anyway, so she's saying if you're a white person and you don't have any descendants, give your money to somebody black or brown who's in generational poverty. And the reason this is such a great idea is because that money is going to go immediately back into the economy. Because black people and brown people who live in generational poverty are the dumbest people on the planet. They don't know how to get out, nor do most of them want to get out. If you are in generational poverty in this country, it is because you choose to be. Okay? Now, so how do I need to say that? Do I need to say that like Farrakhan or Jesse Jackson? You choose to be in poverty in the country because you do not want to work and get a job. Put hope in your brains, not dope in your veins. Generational poverty. Generational poverty are the people that win the lottery and are broke in 2 years. Why would you give your money to somebody like that? They're going to start a business. They don't even know how to do stuff. And I'm going to be critical of them. See, a lot of times people, well, Kevin, they poor folks. Come on now, leave them alone. They don't know no better. Well, too bad. When you say something, well, Kevin, they don't know no better. Well, then go learn better. What do you mean you don't know no better? Not using the double negative. I'm doing that for effect. You know what I'm talking about. If I don't know something and I know that I need to know it, I'm going to learn it. If you're going to have an engineering degree and you don't know calculus, let me explain. You will need this math. So why would you not learn it? I'll muddle through. I'll figure out how to do it. I don't know, Jethro. I could cipher my way around it. You ain't ciphering your way around integrals. You have to know the math. What are you talking about? And then give money to people in generational poverty. Hey, I tell you what, I'm going to give drugs to people that are generational crackheads. Okay? How about that? Here's number 2 in my grandmother voice. White people, if you're inheriting property you intend to sell, or when you get it, give it to a black or a brown family. You go make your money in some other white privilege way that these other people they won't, you see. So what this girl is saying is, don't give it to your kids or whatever. If you get it, if you're receiving this property, give it away. You will have ample time to do what you need to do. Do what Mitt Romney did. What's funny is, this girl's writing about this. Mitt Romney did exactly that. He donated his stuff to charity. Now, did he give it to brown and black? I don't know. I mean, he gave it to charity. I'm presuming that disproportionately represented brown and blacks. So he did that. How much support did he get for president from brown and blacks? I rest my case. Here's number 3. In my grandmother voice. If you are a developer or realty owner of a multifamily housing, build a sustainable complex in a brown or black blighted neighborhood and let brown and black people live in it for free. I love this one. Think about what this girl is telling you. She's saying some white dude needs to build a project for free. Hello, girl. It's called the government. The government has already built you these. You live there for free. You ever heard of Section 8? It is amazing to me that this girl, Kenny, she's saying, hey, white developer, give us this beautiful building that we can turn into an armpit, a crap hole in 5 years that you will never get a nickel out of. You spend your millions of dollars and let us live for free. And oh, you know what? Force a couple of white hipsters to have to live in there and pay the freight. That'll be the way you get your money. These people are crazy. One of my friends called me after I came off of Fox Business talking about all the different nonsense that's going on today. And he said to me, Kevin, bro, your people, he's a white dude. He's like, your people are crazy. I'm like, who? What you talking about? My people. Ain't my people. I don't espouse to own all black folks or be a part of it. I'm part of the sane black culture, not the insane black culture. But I got what he was saying. He's saying, Kevin, how can people think the way black people think? He doesn't get it. This is an Italian dude who grew up poor, who worked for everything he's gotten, got his degree in engineering. We worked together at Texas Instruments. He retired, took his money, put it into sound investments, and he's a wealthy guy now. He's going, look, that's the way I did it. He doesn't get it. And most of you don't either. Because you can't understand the rationale that comes from, and the pathology that develops from years of indoctrination that tells you that to be a thief is okay. A kid breaking into a house to get something because he's going to college and he can't afford, new clothes or books. To steal from somebody else is okay. Culturally, that's fine. We understand he's just trying to get his. And it was for a good reason. Don't Democrats always tell you it's for the right reason? The end justifies the means. It's crazy out there, people. Here's number 4. White people, if you can afford to downsize, give up your home you own to a black or brown family, preferably a family from generational poverty. Now, what she wants you to do is, if you're an empty nester and you have, $1 million of equity in your home, what you do is you go ahead and cash out, or maybe I don't know how she's wanting you to do it, but you give that house to somebody else. And then you go downsize to something smaller, and we're all good. And when you downsize, when you give this house to somebody, it should be somebody who's never lived in your kind of neighborhood, who has no concept of what it's like to change their class system through hard work. So they don't have a care in the world about that neighborhood. I tell you what, go look at a Section 8 house. My grandparents owned Section 8 housing. Look at it after these people leave and all I can tell you is, to do Section 8 housing, you better have the right constitution. You better understand how things work, because your house is not going to be the same. And I'm not telling you everybody is a bad Section 8 tenant. There are people who are good tenants, and we had some. But we had some that you go, how do you live in this? People I would not rent a house to if you put a gun to my head. Generational poverty. Give your home, I tell you what, give your home in this, gated community to a family that's from generational poverty. Watch how long it lasts. Look, folks, I'll just say it in this way. White people gave up the cities. You guys moved. White flight is what they called it. And what happened to the cities? You had Democrats that took over. They brought in black people in droves. Black people then took over. And what do you have? You have the most crime-ridden places on the planet. Detroit, areas of the cities are more dangerous than war zones. How pathetic is that? When we come back, we'll talk more about this list.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255. I wrote a book on race pimping, and I wrote it as a joke. It was a treatment for whites to look at and say, look, stop getting played, people. Get into the game or change the game. And I prefer we change the game. There is nobody in this country more sick of stupid black folks always with their hand out begging for somebody to put something in it than I. Nobody. It's why I'm so hard on black people. It would be like my kids, every time you see them, they would be, hey, can you give me $1? Will you give me $1? Will you give me $1? You know, the way these kids are when you go to Italy and you travel around the world, these kids will come up to you and just beg, beg, beg. I would absolutely whip my boys' butts if they were out there begging for something. Go do something positive. Go make a way. In the most abject of circumstances, I would figure things out. Because that would be my life's mission, my role. But we have people that are professional poverty pimps. That's all they do. They sell that concept. And this lady who wrote this piece, her name is Chanel Helm, and she believes white people owe her something. It's almost like saying, I hate my parents were black. They don't even get it. That disjoint is the gap we have to fill. That is what we as Americans must work on. We must fill that disjoint. Are you kidding? White people, she writes, if any of you people intend to leave your property to our racist a-holes, change the will and will your property to a black or brown family, preferably one with generational poverty. She keeps focusing on generational poverty. Here are the first ones. White people, if you don't have any descendants, will your property to a black or brown family in generational poverty. White people, if you're inheriting, you should sell upon your acceptance, give it to a brown family because you're going to make money in some other white privileged way. The next one is if you're a developer of real estate, put your building in a place where black people live, in a blighted neighborhood, and let black and brown people live there for free. If you can afford to downsize, give up your home you own to a black or brown family, preferably from generational poverty. Those are the four. Now she's saying if you were going to leave your money to somebody who's a racist a-hole, and I guess she'll determine, who's a racist a-hole, then preferably then don't leave it to them. Give it to somebody black or brown, somebody in generational poverty. And the reason that I'm fixated on generational poverty is the reason how generational poverty gets created. It gets created because of generations. It gets created because the longer you are on something, the more you learn about it, the more you figure it out. I couldn't tell you enough about welfare to fill a thimble. If I needed it, I think I'd know where to go. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS. You get signed up, probably wait in a long line with a bunch of people who don't need it, and then you get signed up for assistance, for welfare. And I wouldn't figure out how to get more. I'd figure out how to transition. How do I get out of the situation of welfare and get into something meaningful? That's what I'd be thinking about. But no, we got generational welfare. People who know the welfare system like their attorneys. I mean, can you imagine knowing, well, no, you don't want to do that, Kevin. By all means, don't move into that zip code because then that's going to change your status. That'll reduce your benefits or this or that. Don't take that job. Keep this off the books. They can tell you every nuance of that program. But can't, go get a job? Here's the next one. White people, rebudget your monthly so you can donate to black funds for land purchasing. So they're saying budget what you spend a month and take part of that money and give it to black people who can then purchase land. Why? Oh, should they be generationally impoverished so that they wouldn't even know what land to buy and where and wouldn't be able to develop it? What are they going to do with it? Here was the next one. White people, especially white women, because it's y'all, YW specialty. Nosy Jenny and meddling Kathy. Get a racist fired. Y'all know what the F they be saying. You are complicit when you ignore them. Get your boss fired because they racist too. I'm reading it exactly as she wrote it. And see, this is the most dangerous one so far. You can control what you want to do with your money, etc. But what she's saying is, get somebody set up. Get in their business. Find out that they're not down for the cause and get them fired. Stir up enough emotion around what they're doing to get them fired. Have you heard these stories? I can tell you a guy who worked at the University of Notre Dame who was reading a book called Notre Dame versus the Klan, and he was suspended because some black chick, in this case not a meddling Kathy or a nosy Jenny, but a nosy Shaniqua, she saw the book and was offended. It triggered her. So in her offense of it, they put this guy on suspension, and it turns out it was a book about the University of Notre Dame battling the Ku Klux Klan. I don't know the details around it, but it in no way was racist, whatever. And it was, the irony of this story is it was at the University of Notre Dame. He's reading the book. Here's the next one. Backing up number 7. This should be easy, but all those sheetless Klan, Nazi, and other little pecker white men will all be returning to work. Get they blank fired. Call the police even. They look suspicious. She's saying call the cops on white men regardless. Tell them something's up. They tried to molest me. They called me the N-word. You wonder how the chancellor and the number 2 man at the University of Missouri were fired because some black guy goes, there was a guy driving in a red truck and he yelled the N-word. Was it you? You know, and we're supposed to believe it. It wasn't like, let's go look at surveillance video and see if there was a red truck that went by. Nothing. They just believed him. They tried to mitigate. It didn't work. Next thing you know, the 2 top white dogs, the white dudes at the University of Missouri were gone with a quickness. It's just crazy to me. How do you let people have that much power over you, over your job, over your livelihood? Number 9. Okay, backing up number 8. If any white person at your work, as you enter in spaces, you overhear a white person praising the actions from yesterday, talking about Charlottesville, get a pic, get their name and more info, find out where they work, get them fired, but certainly address them. And if you need to, you got hands, use them. Saying put hands on you. See, when I attend these rallies, these events, nobody puts hands on me, and I don't. There's no bravado. I just walk around normal. They don't put hands on me. My son's coach was so shocked when we came to a tournament that I wore my MAGA hat. He goes, I got to get a picture of this. And he goes, I don't have the guts to wear my hat. I told you guys this story. I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Doesn't have the guts. Big time Trump supporter. Finally, commit to 2 things. 1, fighting white supremacy where and how you can. This doesn't mean taking up knitting unless you're making scarves for black and brown kids in need. Number 2, funding black and brown people and their work. And she gives, every way you could possibly pay her, she has it here. She's got Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and something else. I don't even know what these are. Only one I know is PayPal. Because she wants to get paid. If you want to help a sister out in the demise. And what was funny, she's giving this speech and there are white people all around, these hipsters that think they're cool going, yeah, pay the woman. And folks, before you dismiss this, before you dismiss her, you better go see how much money she raises in her GoFundMe or her PayPal. You better check it out. It'll be thousands, if not $10,000s of dollars that this woman will get because she dared say to white folks, will this to me, give this to me. They should be helping groups like mine, not being self-serving, but it's the truth. That's what they should be helping. People that are out there changing the way people view blacks in a good way. But no, this woman will get funding, probably to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll come back and see what she gets and maybe do a segment on that as well. Short break, we'll be back.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com is where you can find us on the internet, and I hope you will. And you can also get a hold of us at 844-551-8255. Taylor Swift took down her Twitter account. And you want to know why? First of all, let me ask my producers. I told you guys, I said Taylor Swift is standing on her laurels around this bodyguard, this bouncer supposedly putting his hand on her butt, knowing this man didn't do that. She got this man fired over a prank. She knows it. And my suspicion is, I don't know why she shut her Twitter account down. I don't know. But my suspicion is people revolted against her because they were like, you know what? You're ruining somebody's career strictly because you have the power to do it. That's when you know that you're a leftist, when you will do something like that. How many times? I don't know if you've ever been in a position of power over people. I have been. And even in the position I'm in right now. And there are people that make me so mad. And I think to myself, I'm going to be honest with you. I think to myself, I could make 1, maybe 2 phone calls and just make your life miserable, you little maggot, whoever's bothering me, right? But then I catch myself and I say, you know what? I'm not going to do that. It's not worth my time. Karma will catch them, and there's no sense in me being the person that, that is the downfall for, I don't want the ripple effect of what happens. What happens to their kids? Maybe they end up committing suicide. I'm never going to know. I'm going to drive along and not even look in the rearview mirror. So I see that as what leftists do. And now that's not to say if you're truly wronged, you don't do something about it. Lord knows I'm that guy. I'm not going to be wronged. But what I saw in Taylor Swift, and I told you guys, I saw this in the picture. If the guy had had his hand on her buttocks, she would have freaked out and you would have seen it in the camera, in the picture. She took that picture with her friend and nobody else did her friend go, oh my gosh, it was horrible. He put his hand on her butt and she had to, no. Did anybody else? You don't take pictures and a guy have your hand on your butt. Celebrities do nothing in a vacuum. It wasn't just those 3. And forget that her friend said nothing. This guy denied it because it was true. Now, was it in poor taste that he, acted like, oh, I got my hand on her butt, woohoo, and photobombed her picture? Sure it was. But it's not something that people don't do. I wouldn't do it. I would be like, hey, if I photobombed him, I'd be like, hey. And I don't even like photobomb. I don't even like photobombing people's pictures. I photobombed Herman Cain and Alan West and a bunch of my black conservative friends, I photobomb their stuff just for fun. But I don't like photobombing where you're like in the picture, with The Rock, and you don't even know who he is, and then you're carrying the thing around in your wallet like he's your boyfriend. That's what you would do, wouldn't it? Come on, man, admit it. I know y'all are heterosexual dudes, but The Rock, come on, would you give it up to The Rock? Me either. I was just testing y'all. But so this guy's career's ruined. So Taylor Swift removes her Twitter page because she's catching pure hell. And rightfully so. I mean, I'm guessing that's why she did it. Maybe somebody can confirm it. Call the show. 844-551-8255 or send us a note at kjradio.com. Why use your power? You know what Taylor Swift is? She's a chick with a nice voice. She's a woman who can sing. That's it. That doesn't make her special. If you need a mechanic, do you want a singer or do you want a really, a butch-looking chick mechanic? She can even have that butchy haircut and the tattoo that says love dad or mom or whatever she chooses, or, my significant other. Hey, I don't care. I want my car fixed. I don't want somebody that sings to me about her breakups. I want a mechanic. So depending on the circumstances, Taylor Swift means nothing to me. If I'm in a mood and I want to cry over a breakup or something, then I'll play a Taylor Swift song. Why do we give these people so much power? I talked about this before. These are people with really pretty voices. It's like I'm Brian Williams. I'm here to deliver the news. So what? It's fake. So what that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I make up stories as I go along. I have a voice that you can learn to trust. Really? We give ourselves so easily over, and we wonder how in culture, folks, how is it in culture we do the same thing? You wonder how your kids are now down with Antifa or BLM, Black Lives Matter. How do they become a part of this counterculture? And because they're easily won, they're easily swayed. I'm going to make a contention that the 1950s kid growing up was a lot less easily swayed than the year 2000 plus kid. And I'll tell you why. The 1950 kid was a kid who probably had both his parents and was raised in, sort of some sensibilities about themselves. Even in the inner cities, kids were different. I lived in the inner cities in the 60s, and we were different, less likely to succumb to the nonsense of the day. Not that way anymore. We've got this very gullible culture that's willing to accept anything. They don't choose, look at anything and think about, that doesn't make any sense. Donald Trump's a racist. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But okay, Donald Trump's a racist. But Hillary Clinton is an absolute abject racist. Barack Obama, Hillary, Bill Clinton eulogizing a member of the Klan, supporting a group, a Planned Parenthood, whose founder said black people were human weeds, and there's not even a whisper of racism on their part. And worse yet, you can see the outcomes. You look at what the Democrats have done to black people. It isn't like it's a secret. Okay, who here wants to live in a black neighborhood? How many hands? No hands? Oh, shoot. You know what? I'm on radio. And you know what I saw? No hands. But had we been in a room full of 1,000, no, make it 1,000,000 people, nobody's dadgum hand would have gone up. Not even Sheila Jackson Lee or Maxine Waters or Andre Carson want to live in a black neighborhood. I know where those fools live. They live amongst white people. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. I know. Trump calling out the media in his speech a couple days ago. And some funny stories of racism, reverse racism. This one's intriguing. It happened a couple days ago as well. And then lying about Trump. Oh, you know what? The Debbie Wasserman Schultz story is back with some interesting twist. Lots to talk about. Back in.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's got to be one of the funniest stories I've heard in a while that this ESPN announcer Robert Lee was called off of a story, or what was he going to do? He was going to be the announcer, like the play-by-play guy for the University of Virginia game. By the way, why do we still have Southern states? Shouldn't we have gotten rid of the Southern states and renamed them or something? Texas is an Indian word. Probably Arizona is too, or at least maybe Spanish or something. Tejas is a Spanish word, but I think Texas may be Indian. What else we got down south? Mississippi, Alabama. Those may be Indian tribes. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. Just to be on the safe side, we should rename them. Maybe call them like Shaquan and Shaniqua. Where are you from? I'm from Shaniqua, Texas. Because that way we're cool. We know by naming people after Shaniqua, we're never going to have to tear down that statue because it's never going to be built. Hey, I'm just keeping it real. If you name your kid Shaniqua, you have doomed them. And it isn't because Shaniquas necessarily have to be bad. It's that anybody that would think that's a good name, and I know it's all subjective because there's some strange names. It's like, naming your child Chaz. Isn't that what they call Chaz Bono? What was it? Chastity. Chastity Bono's claim to fame is becoming Chaz, which is a name for Charles. That's her claim to fame. Think about the weird names. Who was it? Oh, girl, that girl that was a singer for a while. She married a billionaire, and he tried to make her into a singer. She had a funny name. People with funny names rarely make it. You know what people tend to do? Like Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg said, the only way for me to get noticed is through my funny name. And she called herself Whoopi Goldberg because she said if she gave herself a Jewish name, she would get work. And she did. And she took that and made it into something. But I don't know what her given name is. It's probably like Sarah Burney or something. It's probably something silly. Find out what Whoopi Goldberg's real name is. So you have these people changing their names, but and I don't know. All I'm saying is this: if you, from a name perspective, Robert Lee, this Asian dude, that's not his name. His name is like Wang, and he came to America and he called himself Lee. I had a friend. His name was Robert Chan. His real name was Mao Saint Ling. Who wants to say Mao Saint Ling? So we called him Robert. So this dude, Robert Lee, he picked that name because it was easy. His real name may be Lee, L-I. is Chinese. I know he's Chinese because you don't get, Japanese are not named Lee. So anyway, he's Chinese, Lee, probably L-I. He spells it L-E-E. And it's likely to sort of get rid of this idea he's Chinese. Now, I don't think he's running from his culture, but he's like, I don't want people to automatically assume I'm Chinese. He may be on the phone with me. He's like, yeah, hey, how's it going, Bill? And hey, Robert. And they think he's white. There are people that do that. When I was on the phone selling, people thought I was white. I would show up and they were like, where's the dude I talked to? I'm right here. Yeah, gotcha there, buddy. But I didn't cover it up. I talked just like my dad. So it was genetic. So it wasn't like I'm covering it up, but I understand people do. I wouldn't take a call like, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Listen, this is Kevin. I'm going to be out there to deliver you your parts and everything. And, if you available and stuff, we could get together. I'll get you these parts. I would never have sold anything. And if my name had been Jamal or, whatever. I can't even think of black names right now. See how frustrated you have me, you producers? You better come up with a male black name, and you got 3 minutes. Come up with a good male black name. All right? And don't try to go Pookie on me. But it would be funny if try to sell something and your name is Pookie. Hey, this is Pookie Jackson. And Mr. How you doing, sir? Pookie might sell me something. I'm serious. If a dude call me, how you doing? I need to speak to Mr. Jackson. Well, who's calling? It's Pookie Jenkins. Oh, Pookie. What's up, Pookie? What's up, Mr. Jackson? May I call you Kevin? Absolutely, Pookie. If I can call you Pookie. But so Pookie might sell something. But in the real world, in the business world, Pookies don't go over that well. If you name your son Pookie or your daughter Shaniqua or Chanel or Portia, I'm just telling you, you stuck a pole in your daughter's future and you stuck a broom in your son's hand if you name him Pookie or something like that. You know what I mean? Jaswan, Jaquan. I don't know what it is with black people and boys' names, but we love doing something with J names. You know what I mean? We like Jaquan, Jashawn, Jadon, Jalon, whatever. We love those. Fascination. Asians like simple names. I'm, John Lee, John Smith, whatever. And Lee is used a lot because Lee is a very common Chinese name. Yeah. Shu, HSU. They should just spell that phonetically because that jacks people up. Hasu, HSU, Shu. Anyway, Robert Lee got kicked off of doing a broadcast. Why? Because Robert, his name was too close to the Confederate General Robert E. Lee, and it might trigger some people. They may not be able to watch the show. Black people might go, hold on, is that Robert E.? He doesn't look like a Robert E. Lee, but he might be a Robert E. Lee. I don't know. And then get all scared, right? Black people go, I'm not watching that channel ever again. Oh, no, not ESPN. Oh, scary. You see how ridiculous that is? Who is it? It would be like me saying, I cannot, if a white person said, I cannot watch that show because that guy's name was Jeff Daimler, and it's too close to Jeffrey Dahmer, or what's his name, Gacy? I don't know, something Wayne Gacy, John Wayne Gacy. What would trigger you white people? I'm curious. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about triggers. You get triggered because somebody's name is close to something. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it if you don't want to name your son after your wife's boyfriend in college. I understand that. But don't be triggered over a name. Robert E. Lee versus Robert Lee. And the irony is, he wasn't even white. It wasn't like the dude was white and he was a spitting image of Robert E. Lee. You wouldn't believe it. No, he was freaking Asian. And they still freaked out. We must issue a trigger warning. We almost posted. We almost let Robert Lee host the game. This is ESPN giving we were going to let Robert Lee do the football game at the University of Virginia, but now that we've thought about it, you didn't even have to write in. We self-corrected, America. Thank us for self-correcting ourselves. That's what we do at ESPN, the politically correct sports station. We'll be back with more of the I hate Negroes in curling soon. It's just crazy. Short break.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, y'all? Kevin Jackson here. Lots to talk about. Did you guys? I know you saw that video, right? The video of the black mother who goes to the rally, and she starts whooping up on her kid. He's in black, and he's got one of those do-rags over his mouth, like a triangle, upside down triangle. And you can't see her, but she knows her son. And she goes up there, I think he's like on a stage, and she commences to whooping his head. I'm talking about slapping, whack, whack. And I wrote about her because I said, you know what? That mother is an amazing mom. This lady is a hero. I know the bleeding heart leftists will say, if you see the video, go to our website. They'll say she's abusing her teenage boy. He's a big kid. He's bigger than she is. He's a full 5-6 inches taller than she is. Light-skinned woman. Not heavy, but not little. Thick, as we would say, thick. And she finds her son out of all those people. And it was a lot of black folks. Now, they said he was Antifa, but I thought he was Black Lives Matter. He looked like black. He was dressed all in black. So he could have been either one. I don't know. But the people, if you watch her, man, she just starts to wailing on this boy. I mean, slapping him with her right hand. She grabs him. She's holding him with her left hand, and she just bang, bang, bang. And look, I know some of you are uncomfortable about this because white folks, you raise your children differently than black people. You do. I used to marvel at what my white friends could say to their parents. I remember my buddy of mine's name is Eddie Baldwin, and Eddie said the S-H, he said S-H-I-T to his dad, like, and in anger, like his dad said, go give me the car keys. He's like, crap. And he was like 12 years old. And me and my brother looked at each other like, boy, that would be a death sentence for us. His dad didn't even skip a beat. Now, Eddie, go get it. It was like two peers talking to one another. I will never forget that moment. My bro, you know how you are in tune with your bro. My brother's older now I am, but we looked at each other like, did that just happen? Because we knew exactly. My grandmother would have been digging our hole. This wasn't going to happen. So it's different discipline. And between us girls, I don't understand white people discipline necessarily, because, and don't misunderstand me, there should be more communication. I look back on my life, my grandmother would have done a lot better talking to me at times versus pulling out that extension cord. You gotta get that extension cord. That was her threat. Don't make me get that extension cord. You know what an extension cord is? You plug something else in, not one of these big ones now, but the little ones with the wire, the copper wire. And she would get that thing and you could hear it. It was like a switch. Remember, you had to go get your own switch? That was a fate worse than death. You try to get something that wouldn't hurt, a lot, but wouldn't break. Because if a switch broke, then you were in bigger trouble. So you had to get something that hurt. You became good at switch picking. I could tell you a good switch. Find something that you could hear it make that sound in the air, and you were your own executioner. You go back. You go, Grandma. You go, my dear. Oh man, you kids! These my producers have never had to go get their own switch. They're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you had to go get what? Your own switch? What's an extension cord? They don't even know what an extension cord is because there's been so much technology. You just plug in that 6-plate thing, right? Or the big ones now that have all the different gadgets. They don't even know what that stuff is, youngsters. Anyway, if you see this, you might go, she's abusing that child. And for the multitude of silly butt leftists who believe they control the black population, I'm telling you, Supermom it should make you scared. Because Supermom went up there in the midst of all this rioting and this, Antifa, BLM crap. She went up on the stage, grabbed her son by the hair, by the ear, whatever, and started wailing on him in public. She deserves an award. She didn't care who saw that butt kicking. Yeah. And to his credit, that young black thug in training, he responded appropriately, and he took that butt kicking like a champ. He's bigger than his mom. Now, she was mad. She was a mama grizzly. Well, what I like most about what this mother did was she didn't do the white thing. I'm not trying to make my show racial because I laugh at all the racist stuff, but I'm just saying she didn't do the white thing. She didn't wait until she got home and put the kid in timeout and lecture. Well, now listen, Jaquan. She publicly humiliated this teen. I've told my son, he's 11 years old, about to be 11 in December, and I told him, you backtalk me while you're playing baseball amongst your friends. If you think for 1 second I'm waiting till we get home, you're out of your mind. The way I will keep you from becoming a miscreant is I will treat you the same way at home as I do in public. And if you backtalk me, I will spank your butt in front of God and everybody. And that's what that woman did. She publicly humiliated her son. This way, other blacks could see how to discipline a teen headed for the penitentiary or the grave. And there were other black kids looking around, but they weren't laughing. See, we think that if we publicly humiliate our kids, it'll be, and people will do. What people do is they gain respect for your parents, and then they understand that you are untouchable. As a kid, when my grandmother went after me publicly, not that I was hanging around bad kids. Y'all like, it's a Freudian slip, Kevin. No, not all black kids are bad. In fact, most of them are good. But when I was hanging around kids, my grandmother, she probably didn't realize she was doing this, but she disciplined me on the spot. Because what it said to these kids was, if you say, oh, Kevin, you just a chicken. Oh, man, they were like, Kevin's grandmother will come and whoop, you do not want to mess with. I know why Kevin ain't doing it. Now, my buddy, Eddie, who talked back to his dad, he could say whatever he wants. So if they said, Eddie, can you do something? He couldn't go, no, man, my dad will whoop my butt. They'd be like, boy, I heard you talk to your dad. Your dad ain't going to do nothing. But if you said that about my grandmother, people would look at you like you were crazy. Now, I didn't need that because I wasn't, you weren't going to intimidate me anyway because I was a little martial artist and I was going to fight. But I'm just saying, it didn't hurt that people knew my grandmother didn't play. And as we say in the black community, Miss Thompson don't play. She don't play. So I think the other important thing about that lady doing that publicly was somebody videotaped it. And that videotaping of that butt kicking of her son, that butt whooping, was viral now. And it became a lesson. It became a tool for people to see. Now, I don't know anything about the life of this mother, but I'm going to suggest something to you. I'm going to suggest that she's a single mom. Because if she were married to the boy's father, she would only have to look as the father parented that teen. Both of them would have gone up there, and the father would have gone to that teen and done the same doggone thing. At the very least, you don't send one of them. That is a show of solidarity, unless that father was non-existent. I mean, I'm not non-existent, but had a job and couldn't come up. But so I don't know. He could have been home, at the work, his job. I don't know. But I suspect she's a single mom. But one thing is for sure, that mother did not buy into leftism. I can hear her saying to this boy in the video, you can hear her saying, WTF are you doing? And she's yelling at him. WTF is wrong with you? Get the F out of here. She's going crazy. Language, bad language. I get it. That's not good parenting. beating your kid and then saying, WTF you doing here, boy, what, but, and I know that's what white people are out there thinking, Kevin, that's awful. I mean, listen to the language. Let me tell you something, folks. It's a different way to raise black kids. I'm not trying to make this racial. I'm trying to tell you, you cannot go into an environment like that without having turned on your lion. Without having gone in there to say, I'm saying to you, son, and everybody around you, that I will take care of business. It reminds me of this father who his son was in a gang, and he videotaped him whooping his son's butt, and he said, I'll post this for the gang. My son is off limits. Now, see, a lot of people wouldn't have done that. Now, I'll be honest with you. Part of me doesn't like seeing a black woman, a black mother, young black mother, going jungle on her son. But I get it. I was that kid. That's how things work with kids this far gone. Her job, folks, was not to coax her son back. Hey, listen, what are you doing, son? I can't believe I didn't raise you this way. The suburban white way. And again, I'm colorizing this for a reason. There are certain things that need to be colorized. And this one needs to be colorized. I'm so proud of her. Because it would be easy to go, I wonder if somebody's going to call Child Protective Services. I wonder if she didn't think about any of that. Her son was more important. I'm going to run out of time here because there's something else I want to talk about with respect to this story. We'll be back.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. We're talking about discipline. And discipline is one of those things where you can colorize it. Now, it may be rich and poor. I know some country people who will lay a whooping on their kids. I know a bunch of them. They will lay a whooping on. But you know what? Some of it could be, there's urban discipline and rural discipline. Country folk don't play. They expect certain things from their children versus city people. I'm even talking small town. Like I grew up on a big cattle ranch, and the closest town to us was Voca, Texas, population 17. It was a very small town. And the big town was Brady, population 5,557. Even the discipline between the kids in town and the country people were different. And the discipline between blacks and whites, particularly city dwellers, blacks and city dwellers, is different. The difference between black folks in the country and white folks in the country, not a whole lot of difference. It's like the difference between southern food and soul food. There ain't a whole lot of difference. Fried chicken, okra, green beans, hog maws, you name it. Because country folk are poor too. We had an accountability in the black community. That was what made us so strong as a family. It was an accountability, man. I can't describe it. Everybody had permission to whoop that butt. I remember going to my great-grandfather's house, Welder, Texas, population 1,011. And everybody knew, little old bitty town. And they knew every street you went to. By the time, if you did something up the block, I'm not exaggerating. By the time you got home, we got home, my great-grandfather already knew, boy, what you doing up there in that man's cornfield? He said cornfield, but it was corn. But we go there and get lost, like run through it. And I remember when I saw cotton. What you doing up there, Mr. Johnson's cotton field? I was like, well, Papa, I just wanted to see what cotton was like. Stay out of that man's field. Don't you let me catch you back up there. I never went back. Oh, no. So discipline was something that was expected. And you didn't, black kids, you didn't have to discipline black kids 3-4 times. You discipline black kids. My great-grandfather told us, you say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. He brought me and my brother in there because we would go, huh, and what? And he said, you say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. You got it? Yeah. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. You got it? Yes, sir. My great-grandmother called me. It was an hour later. I'd already forgotten. Huh? Next thing I knew, my great-grandfather's belt was on my butt. He was giving me a butt whooping. That quick. And it only took one. I got home. The first thing he asked my grandmother, he says, those boys still saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am? She said, yeah, daddy. And we did. And I've been saying it ever since. See, that was discipline. That was stuff that taught you the difference between, boyhood and manhood. And it was funny. My city buddies would say, man, why you say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am? You cow-talented, whatever. I was like, you can say whatever you want. But my great-grandfather, the person who I respect the most in the world and who would whoop my butt, told me that's what I say. So that's what I say. And I also noticed how people responded to it. They were like, these are mannerable young men, me and my brother. Because we were. That little incident was so cataclysmic in my life. It seems innocuous. It seems like it's a nothing deal. It was huge. And it took a butt whooping for me to get it. He couldn't have counseled me into that. Now listen, Kevin, I told you once before, say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. Now you're going to do that for me? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. That's what I would have said. When he whooped my butt, yes, sir. Yeah, I get it. And he said, and you do it from now on. Like he was going to, haunt my dreams. Anyway, this mom I was talking about, she goes out at an Antifa BLM meeting, whatever, a protest, it's turning violent, finds her son, drags this kid by his ear, slapping the crap out of him in front of God and everybody. His people, his buddies, black folks looking on. This black lady is disciplining her son, and I say to her, kudos, woman. Good for you. I could not tell you how proud I am for her. And I'm guessing, as I said earlier, that she's a single mom, but I don't know. But whether she's a single mom or a doting mom with a husband, she did what it took to say to her son, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, in her own way. You will not be a part of this nonsense. But there's a bigger picture to this, folks. There's a bigger picture to this tough love that this woman dealt out to her teen son that he will never forget. See, you can see her frustration. Yeah, she taught the boy better. So to find out that he's involved in nonsense infuriates her. And her anger gets taken out on him. But I want you to consider something. I want you to consider who she really mad at. Yeah. Who did this? Who convinced her son that he needs to forget everything his mother said, forget about his, quote, home training, lose his common sense, and go support an effort that she is not bought into? And that's the key. See, somebody convinced her precious baby to do something stupid. And that stupid thing could get this kid in jail or dead, following something that she doesn't believe in and she's taught him not to believe in. And that's what I want to get to. That's why this was so important. Because the fate of the Democrats is what that woman just did to her son. She's going to grab the Democrats by the collar of their shirt and she's going to start beating the crap out of them with her right hand. And the only difference is she might have a club in it this time, because it won't be her beating on her kid, trying to knock some sense into him, as my grandmother would say. She's going to be wanting to knock Democrats the flunk out. I've warned them. I've warned Democrats for decades, at least a decade. I've said, When black people find out how duplicitous you are, how sorry you are, they are going to revolt. They are going to be so upset with you, and you're going to lose that vote forever. And they're starting to see it. I'm telling you right now, our group, TeaPartyCommunity.com, we are leading the charge to bring 20+% of black folks over in the next series of elections. The same way Ralph Reed did with the Christian right, we're going to do with the black right. We're going to get black folks who believe in what we're saying and who are willing to stand up for it to start doing it. You're seeing it more and more. And I'm telling you, folks, as God is my witness, you're going to start seeing so much of it. The Democrats are going to reach DEFCON, whichever one is the worst. They're going to reach that level. It's going to be nuclear. That woman was not revolting against her son. She was revolting against Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And I promise you, blacks all over this country cannot stand either one of those groups. They are upset that when you see black, you see the perception that the negative media wants you to think about black people. Weak, worried about Confederate statues and stuff. America is going to see example after example of blacks who have tired of the games that the Democrats have been playing for decades. And the revolt, folks, pay attention now, it began with Donald Trump, the election of Donald Trump. I want you to consider how many blacks ignored Barack Obama's "It's for my legacy." How many of them ignored him bringing out Jay-Z and Stevie Wonder and all these leftist entertainers who don't even understand the condition of black anymore, who are profiting off of the misery of black folks that doesn't exist, a faux misery, one that's been created. Donald Trump stopped it. How many blacks do you think? I can tell you because I was out there, but so many of them said, I can't stand Hillary Clinton. They may this time around said, I couldn't vote for Trump, but they couldn't stand Hillary Clinton. Who can they stand next? You name me the person. Kamala Harris? She's not even black. She's like half Indian and half Greek or something, half Italian. She's not black. And that'll come out. She's not a poster child. Cory Booker, man, there's not a black man in the country that go, oh, Cory Booker, man, he's a picture of manhood. He's more effeminate than Barack Obama, if that's even possible. They got nobody. Donald Trump is going to make black people voluntarily leave that ignorance that's been beaten into them over the decades and come over and check him out. And let me tell you something else. More blacks than you can get to admit it voted for Trump. And those numbers by 2018 are going to stagger you because I'm going to be part of that. Folks, it's a different world out there. You're seeing example after example of the left being abandoned because they have no message. And their message so far has been one of degrading blacks. Black people are sickened of this. I and many others are about to free them.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Hey, Donald Trump delivered a bit of news to Joe Arpaio he said it without saying it, or he kind of said it, right? Joe Arpaio. This guy's an icon. Joe Arpaio got railroaded. He's following the law, and so a bunch of bureaucrats railroaded this man, giving him contempt of court because he won't break the law. It's ridiculous. I was so excited to hear. I was hoping Trump would say, you know what, to heck with convention. I'm pardoning Joe Arpaio tonight. He all but said it, but still. Anyway, glad you guys are here. KJRadio.com is where you can find us. 844-551-8255. Are you having fun yet? You enjoying this whole, scene, if you will, not to get all hipster on you. I love the scene. But you enjoying this scene, watching these leftists do everything they can to disrupt Donald Trump. I saw this story. You're going to love this one. Hillary Clinton said that Trump made her skin crawl. As he loomed behind her at the presidential debate in St. Louis, and added she wished she could have pressed pause and asked America, well, what would you do? Hillary Clinton can't even be clever when she's got time. I would ask America, well, what would you do? Really? Nice try, Hillary. Hillary is a skank. I'm sorry to say that, but you know what? I'm not even sorry to say that. She is. Let me tell you something. Trump is the one whose skin should have been crawling. Wow. The nerve of this woman, or whatever she is. A woman that should be in prison. She's got a book deal. I'm curious. What is her book deal? Do we know? Did she get millions? Look, let me tell you something. She got $14 million for Hard Choices. I'm curious what she got for What Happened. Is it I'm going to make you a bet. I bet you it's under, I don't know it, but I bet you it's under $5 million. Now, I'd love to get $5 million for a book. I'd love to get $1 million for a book. But still, it's less. She's not nearly as effective. He made my skin crawl. Let me tell you what Hillary Clinton's going to do. The only thing that will make her book successful, if it is successful, is the fact that it's got Trump all the way through it. That's all she can talk about. Donald Trump. He made my skin crawl. You know who should make her skin crawl? Joe Biden. Have you seen the pictures of Biden with women? He's like a gooey, gushy, old creepy guy. She was okay hanging around Biden, but Donald Trump made her skin crawl. Donald Trump, before Hillary Clinton, before Donald Trump ran for president, Hillary Clinton would have been, I'll put it to you, I'll put it nicely. Hillary would have had knee pads to be around Donald Trump. She'd have had them in her purse at the ready. Donald, you're so special. Oh my gosh, you're amazing, Donald. You remember that picture where Donald's with Melania? Not that Donald Trump would ever sink so low to get a Lewinsky from Hillary Clinton. Let's just forget I said that, okay? Let's just forget it. Because that's just, I don't even want to visualize anything close to that. Made her skin crawl. Yeah, new book, What Happened, which she called an attempt to pull back the curtain on her losing bid for the presidency. You know what? The fact that Hillary Clinton wants to write a book about being a loser tells you all you need to know. Let's pull down her statue. It seems like we're pulling down all the losers' statue. We're rewriting them out of history. The words Clinton most detailed public comments about what happened during one of the campaign's more memorable moments. You say some moments during the campaign, she said, baffled her. Others seemingly repulsed her. In recounting the October incident, she referred to Trump as a creep. Book is out September 12th, but they got the audio excerpts. I wonder if it's Clinton reading it. There I was on stage with Donald Trump. He creeped up behind me, and I wish I could stop the clock and pause and say to America, what would you do? I don't feel no ways tired. Tard. She says tard. Anyway, the nerve of Hillary Clinton, who's got the creepiest husband. I wonder if she would go to Kathleen Willey and talk about Donald Trump being creepy. Or Monica Lewinsky, or what was the other one? Paula Jones, and all these other ladies that Hillary Clinton helped Bill Clinton rape and molest. I wonder how creepy they are. It's funny. These people they think we forget all this. And look, you could talk about the Clintons and say, well, did they kill Vince Foster? Is Vince Foster Chelsea's real daddy and all that? I don't even care. But one thing that there is no doubt about, Bill Clinton raped and sexually harassed women, and he used his power to do so, and Hillary Clinton helped him cover it up. And she's talking about Donald Trump being a creep. She's a creep. I want to see that book of hers because it is a book of lies is what it is. I wouldn't buy it. Let me make a prediction. Hillary Clinton's book will be in the dollar store within 6 months of September the 12th. So what do we got? October, November, December, January, February, March. By March the 12th, Hillary Clinton's book will be in the dollar store. Nobody will be talking about it. What happened? We know what happened. You got your buttocks kicked. I love my description of it on the night of it happened. I said Donald Trump took Hillary Clinton and wiped the floor with her big white buttocks. To this day, she can't get the stains out of those big white buttocks. Oh, man, it tickles me to think about Donald Trump. Hey, Hillary, you wanted to fight. It's like a person that's always been, yeah, you come over here. I'll fight you. And then they go over there, to get the chance to fight and can't fight. Get their butts kicked. That's exactly what happened to Hillary Clinton. That's exactly what happened to the left. And we're not done. We're not done. We are still continuing to barrel down on them. They wanted to fight. They kept egging us on. We just wanted to be left alone. All we wanted was, pay attention to us. Why should our voices not be heard? You better shut up. We'll kick your butt. We'll beat you up. One of my buddies said, he was a fighter. He said, man, Kevin, we should get a group of us together. We go to every one of these protests, go whoop these Antifa people's butts at every protest, because it'll take nothing to back them down.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
We covered some topics that are a little bit controversial in sorts, and I always want to give you a little bit of a warning, a trigger warning, not because we're going to cover it in any crazy way, but because it is a bit of a sensitive topic. And some of the stations that we're on have a bit of a religious bent to them. And as you guys know, I'm a Christian, and certainly I call the show PG-13. I think your teenager could listen to this show and have a good laugh. And I don't feel like we do anything that crosses that line. But you never know what, offends different people's sensibilities. And this particular story is one that it doesn't cross the line, in my opinion. I think it highlights liberalism at its finest. It was an article in the Telegraph UK. And I don't remember the name of it, but it says, essentially it was feminist porn. And the lady who's they're interviewing says this, and I'm reading this. Once a director instructed me to wait 5 minutes and then fake an orgasm. Now, she's an adult film star. I said, give me an additional 5 minutes and I'll have a real one. To me, this is what the lady writes. To me, that's feminist porn in a nutshell. Now, here's the reason why I bring this up. So America's got a fascination with sex. It's part of our DNA. Everybody should have that. It's a natural thing. And most of us aspire to some sort of a moral standard, if you will. Society picks it for us. And I'll be honest with you, probably most people violate that to some degree. That's why we have divorce and, adultery, and we have words to describe all these things. But what's interesting to me is when you bring up the idea of porn, and the leftists have said, and these feminist leftists are saying this, there's feminist porn. There's porn. Now, I get it. There's gay porn, and there's different types of things that you may want to do, fetish, if you will. I understand it, but here's the net of it, folks. Porn is porn. And what amazes me is that there's a distinction being made here. They're separating feminists out. And let's just be honest here, since we're talking about the subject, and I want to cover it. I'll cover it delicately, but I want to cover it realistically. When you talk about, quote, porn, there's already a lot of gay porn, particularly, and I'll be honest, I've never been a aficionado of porn, but there's hardly any that you'd have where you don't see two women together or more. So from the standpoint of gay porn, and that's not male porn, that's, I guess you could theoretically say it's lesbian porn, but you have that already. But now feminists say, no, there's a brand of porn that's about feminist. And I go, really? So the idea here, and I'm reading through the article and I'm trying to ascertain what they're trying to say, is that the reason that women decide they're going to go into the adult film industry, let's just start saying that so we can maybe soften the impact of the other word. But in the adult film industry is because supposedly they are empowered. They have control over who they decide they're going to, and I'm using my finger quotes, act with, and so on and so forth. In many cases, they've even taken over, and said, I know there's one group of women, because we did a story on this about 2-3 years ago, that they said, why are we letting men make all this money? We're the ones doing the work, the heavy lifting, so we'll form our own company. And they've done, I don't know, hundreds of films together. I don't know the details. And I'm going to tell you, my knowledge of the adult film industry is pretty limited. I would be considered a square. But when I saw this article, I thought, this is weird. Madison Young, they write, is unabashed in her enthusiastic description of life as a porn star. She's sitting in the middle of a Los Angeles cafe, not lowering her voice, even when she's talking about different types of sex. I won't say the one, but one of them she says is kinky sex. So she's very blatant. She's open. She's talking about it, and she feels empowered. Now, I don't know about you. I just think that's crass. I think if you're, just sitting around talking to your fellas about sex with girls, if you were in college, I find that crass. I've never been one to want to sit and listen to these guys talk about that. Maybe when I was really young and trying to impress people. Oh, yeah, whatever. But as I got older, I was like, man, that's kind of crass. I would actually say that. Why would you embarrass this girl talking about this? If she decides she wants to be with you, that should be enough. That's victory enough for you. But you got to come here and you got to brag, or you got to demean her or belittle her or whatever. I mean, come on. That was the way I felt about it. But anyway, this girl, she's sitting there and she's bragging about this. Oh yeah, I love it. And they said that her name is one that might make some nod their heads in acknowledgement, albeit discreetly. The amiable strawberry blonde born Tina Butcher became a pioneer of feminist porn 10 years ago. And here's what she says about it. Performing was a way to bring my feminist ethos into erotic film. She says of her rather controversial career choice. Now she's 36 years old. She's become an integral part of the sex positive movement that has been on the rise, they say, since the 80s. And it believes that sexual images can be a source of inspiration, liberation, and empowerment for viewers. Now, what's interesting to me is that the left will also tell you it objectifies women. Oh, but it doesn't objectify women when it's women doing it with women. You know, women putting it together or calling the shots. That's no longer I'm going to get it out here in a second. Objectification. But if men are in charge of the studio, then women are the objects. And that's what got me, is thinking about, why is it not just porn? It's feminist porn because women own it. And they're proud to own it. Guys are the ones that own it and say, do this, do that, or whatever. Even though the women have a choice, do they want to do the job? Do they want to work? Now it's got a whole different definition. And then here's how they go on to talk about it. Porn is being watched by women more than ever. In 2015, one of the world's most popular free sites, I'm not even going to say the name, which is visited by 156 million people every month, recently revealed that women make up a quarter of its global audience. So, and then they went on to talk about 50 Shades of Grey and all this. And again, I'm telling you right now, if you're a conservative listening to this and you're having a little bit of a queasy moment, don't, because you're being a fake. You believe in sex. You've had it. You will continue to. It's the way we view it. And here's a quick story, and I'm going to let this segment go. But a friend of mine, an acquaintance, I should say, she and her husband were in the adult film industry, and I didn't know it for a long time. And then one day we were talking, and she admitted, she was like, "Yeah, this is where we came from." And I was like, "Get out." Beautiful daughter. Daughter's going to an Ivy League school, and she says, "I did that to pay for her education, and we couldn't wait to get out. But let me tell you, my daughter will never be in it." And this woman is a feminist. She is a God-fearing person who obviously extricated herself from that business, thankfully, and raised an amazing daughter. But it's funny how the left views these things.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. They say that McConnell in private says that Trump's presidency isn't going to last or something like that. I don't believe that. I don't believe Mitch McConnell has I don't think he has the male genitalia to say that. Privately, publicly, he knows he wouldn't say it because it's not true. Let me tell you, if anybody who believes that Donald Trump will not serve a minimum of 4 years outside of God taking him away, you might as well be fighting against the air. Go fight your shadow, because you have to be delusional to believe otherwise. The left must really believe in their power. You know, that's what I think it is. I think the left believe that they are so powerful because they've thwarted us on Obamacare and tax policy and all these other things. They believe in their heart of hearts that no matter what we say or do, Donald Trump is going. They don't understand two things. Two things that have evaded them in politics for a long time. One, they don't understand the resolve of Donald Trump. That's number one. The second thing they don't understand is the resolve you have. It's never been tested. They've never seen a populace like us before. They're used to their people who they can, throw a ball over in that direction and they go over there running, particularly blacks. They're used to being able to set a narrative and it sticks and everybody's like, global climate change. Now think about what's happened. Let's just use that as an example. In global climate change, we went from it becoming part of every policy we had in Barack Obama's administration. It was what we talked about all the time, to it being ridiculed in less than 2 years, probably less than a year. It's gone from, you're crazy if you don't believe in global climate change, to, ha ha ha, whatever. It's weather, which is exactly what it is. We completely flipped what people believe about global climate change in 1 year. Congratulations to you, my friends. What a feat. You know what else you've completely flipped? You've completely flipped the idea that Democrats really want to help people. You've completely flipped the idea that the media tells the truth. You've completely flipped that Barack Obama was competent, that Hillary Clinton was a good potential candidate for the left, that Barney, what's his face? It's Barney Miller. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Sanders, Bernie. I said Barney. I'll get it out. No, I'm not getting crazy. I don't try to remember all these crazy people's names. Bernie Sanders is some philanthropic socialist who lives like he preaches. We flipped everything on them. We flipped back that conservatism is bad. We're flipping back that capitalism is bad. We're flipping back that the military is bad. We're getting these social issues back on the table in ways nobody would have dreamed. People understand it. We don't give a crap about your gaiety. We care about your heart, not who you sleep with. So we have flipped the script, boy. And I'm talking, folks, in 7 months plus an election cycle. So let's just call it 18 months. In 18 months, pardon me, we have retrained America to a bigger degree. Ask yourself this. 2-3 years ago, what'd you think about the media? What'd you think about Donald Trump? What'd you think about the whole political system? All of it. Global climate change. Just think about all the things that you have slowly started to go back. You feel yourself gaining sanity. If you haven't, you should be. I know I do. There's a lie about Donald Trump. Says he's hurting the GOP brand. For the GOP to fear brand damage proves they have brain damage. If anybody has hurt the GOP brand, it's the GOP. If Trump has done anything, folks, he has helped salvage the GOP brand. Let's face it. The GOP is eunuchs. It's a bunch of eunuchs. Guys that have no sacks. They are almost a universal embarrassment. Outside of Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, maybe Trey Gowdy, and Rand Paul. Let me think. I got to think to find. Louis Gohmert, a couple others. I don't want to leave anybody out, but they're a handful. Outside of them, every one of these guys is practically an embarrassment. McCain, Lindsey Graham, a bunch of them. The true Republicans can easily be counted on both your hands with fingers left over. It's just the truth. And I suggest the middle finger if you're so inclined. But the left want you to believe that Trump is a problem. I was reading this article in The Hill. It says, as a week dominated by President Trump's response to the violence at white supremacist rally in Charlottesville draws to a close, many Republicans are worried that serious damage has been done to the party. Can you believe this? Republicans want you to believe that because of Charlottesville, it's got nothing to do with Republicans. It's got nothing to do with Trump. That's where the damage to the party is. How ridiculous. That is so stupid. I can't even fathom that. That's like the Republicans go, well, we're really sorry we sent those white nationalists to Charlottesville to march. I mean, we didn't think it would be that big of a deal. What, are we taking ownership of white nationalists and KKK? Their job should have been to shut up. Let Trump do what he does. Unbelievable. They say they argue that Trump may have set back years of efforts to make the GOP more appealing to an increasingly diverse American electorate. Whoever wrote that, literally, they should be fired. Tell me what the GOP has done to make itself more appealing to the American electorate. Give me something in the last decade. Minority outreach? Women outreach? LGBT outreach? What? Oh, no, I know the Republicans. Oh, we just want to help everybody because then the ocean rises for everyone. Look, I'm not about putting people into buckets and saying, GOP, tailor a message to get black people excited or the LGBT community excited or the black community or whatever. But the Republicans have done nothing. And say, oh, we've got it. First of all, they don't have an image problem to fix except that they're just Democrat light. That's their image. That's the problem. Only a moron would believe that the GOP has done a good job of increasing diversity from the American electorate, and it's now more appealing to all. And I'll tell you, if anybody's in trouble, anybody, it is the GOP. Trump is the only reason that the GOP outpaces the Democrats 2-1 in fundraising. That's right. We reported these numbers a while back. And I wrote this. It appears that Trump's base doesn't care about his impending impeachment. Betting public has put its money on the president, and although I'm no Vegas odds maker, I would not take a bet against Trump. Take a look at the numbers. The Republican National Committee is touting some big fundraising numbers bolstered by President Trump's appeal with his base, including small donors. The $75 million plus brought in by the party in the first 6 months of this year is more than double the amount of their Democrats raised during Barack Obama's first 6 months. Double from Barack Obama. Not Hillary Clinton, not Bill Clinton, the baby black Jesus of Democratic politics. And I want you to keep this in mind. That happened when Obama was the belle of the ball, not when he was on the downslide. So Trump has raised double, but it gets worse for the Democrats. Compared to the Democrats' fundraising, Trump is freaking Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Batman, Wonder Woman, and King Kong rolled into one delicious conservative superhero. The DNC raised only $4.29 million in May, the organization's worst fundraising performance in the month of May since 2003. In May of 2003, the DNC raised $2.7 million. And the worst totals were in 2005 and 2015 with a $4.5 million in both. So $4.29 million is what they raised. It's unbelievable, folks. Donald Trump is absolutely kicking butt. And they're lying about it. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. Forget the polls and all that other stuff. The indicators are reality. The Republicans are raising a record amounts of money, doubling the Democrats, and the Democrats need you to believe you're losing. Oh, who cares about those numbers? That's not a big deal. Same thing with these rallies. Oh, who cares that Donald Trump packs rallies? People waiting in line to go to Phoenix the day before the event, people. It was crazy. Rock star status. We got more. Keep it in.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. And I'm going to tell you one more time, I believe in my heart of hearts something very significant is happening in politics. 844-551-8255. And no, it is not just this show, because I'm not political. I'm just giving you opinion. I'm giving you life advice that happens to be politics. I don't want the IRS going, Kevin Jackson's political. I'm not. I'm just talking to you about life. For all intents and purposes, this is a church. I'm a tax-deductible organization. This is a church. And the church, you got to tell people how to live their lives. What's in the good book? And the good book is the good book of conservatism. See, because we follow that thing called the Bible. And I'm telling you, folks, there's something happening that the Democrats, we are watching a widening. It isn't like the Democrats are holding ground. You know how they tell you that the Democrats have 40%, the Republicans have 40%, and we all fight over the 20% in between. It's not happening. The Democrats are losing ground. If they were 40 and we were 40-40, Donald Trump has made our 40-44, and the left have lost 4. It's 36 now to 44. So we may still be fighting over 20%, but I don't believe it. And in fact, I believe that 20% is shrinking as well, and it's probably 8% to 2%, 8 to 2 going towards Trump, giving us a 54 and them a 40, what was it, 54, 46. You know, yeah, I got it. I'll do the math. So, and here's why I say that. If you look at the popularity of their icons, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, they're nobodies. Nobody cares. They can't fill stadiums. They can't even fill a room. You look at their fundraising. I just talked about the fundraising a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I'll cover it again. But if you look at the real indicators, if you look at Donald Trump still filling venues, if you look at what happened, and I talked about this about Chappelle Nadal, the idea that they're really going to suspend this woman, kick her out of the Senate, and it is Congressional Black Caucus members who are leading the charge here. Folks, you're seeing something revolutionary. I'd ask you, tell me which candidate outside of Trump you think who could have gotten us here? Could Rand Paul? I like Rand Paul. Really good guy. I would like to have seen Rand Paul as Trump's VP. But let me tell you, he couldn't have done what Trump is doing. Pence couldn't have done it. Donald Trump is uniquely positioned to change politics the way he already has started. And it's permeating all segments of society. Women are getting it. The LGBT community are getting it. And you know what? We don't have to placate. Oh, let's placate to this, the LGBT. Let's talk to them. Let's talk to black folks. Let's talk to Hispanics. Let's talk to white folks, the disabled, the veterans. When all you care about is helping America, everybody gets it. I talked to you guys about the slogan. When it first came out, I had people laughing. I said, stop laughing. That's an amazing slogan. Amazing. How smart was Donald Trump to say, make America great again, and then follow that with America first? This is cataclysmic. And if we play our cards right, then we won't have to fight nearly as hard next time around, guys. That's what I'm looking for. Racist Democrats, folks, desperately trying to teach plantation Negroes that Donald Trump isn't good for black folks. But the real truth is, in the short, less than 8 months Trump's been in office, blacks are already better off. And I've alluded to this a couple of times in, whether it's the HBCUs or the H-1B visas, etc. Those were two things that really helped black folks, but they aren't mainstream type things where you could say, okay, well, black people are going to be excited across the board. It isn't like you come out one day and say, look, free chicken for every black man in America till he dies, because then I would be excited. Fried chicken. So what are the other signs? This one, and I'm going to read this. According to the Daily Caller, BLS stats show that from July of 2016 to July of 2017, the unemployment rate for black Americans has dropped 1 full percentage point. Last year, the rate was 8.4%. Now it's 7.4%. Donald Trump has shaved, hundreds of thousands of jobs, a percentage point off of unemployment, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs for blacks that were not there. And they're obviously taking advantage of it. Most of the gains came during Trump's administration. The rate has dropped from 8% to this March to 7.4% now. The lowest rate among blacks since December of 2000, some 17 years ago. And it's not a lot lower than the 16.8% black unemployment rate Obama saw at its worst level back in 2010. It is a lot lower, I should say. So you could argue, Obama shrunk the black rolls, whatever, during his presidency. He didn't. What Barack Obama did was sweep the black problem under the rug by saying, okay, they quit looking. And he got people signed up for disability and welfare and said, look, if you'll do that, we'll get you some money. If you're going to do the other, we're going to make you wait. And that's what's happened. There goes racist Donald Trump, folks, saving black people from the worst unemployment rate in 17 years. And this is bad news for the Democrats, because what are they going to do if Donald Trump steals their Negroes? Imagine more and more blacks living the American dream. More and more blacks relying less and less on government. See, this is a far cry from what Barack Obama delivered. And most blacks only admit this privately, but Obama crushed the black community. According to the National Review, the first black president is responsible for a decrease in the black American labor force participation by 2.4%. A decrease in the black teenager labor force by 2.7%. His policies increased poverty among blacks by 1.6% and brought a decrease in the median income of 1.5%. One would think that Obama intentionally was trying to hurt blacks, being honest with you. It's crazy. As Cat Williams put it, black people made Superman but forgot to ask if the N-word knew how to fly. We've played that clip before. Now, under new leadership, blacks have begun to thrive. During a press conference last week regarding the riots in Charlottesville, the press asked Donald Trump what he needed to heal race relations, and he responded, create jobs. Create jobs. The idle mind is the devil's workshop. Put a man to work. He doesn't have time to be, working on all this frivolous stuff that we continue to get bogged down in. We have companies, I'll say, pouring back into our country, and I think they're going to have a huge positive impact on race relations. You know why? It's jobs, Trump continued. What people want is jobs. They want great jobs and good pay, and watch how race relations will be. And he's right to a degree, but we still need that education system to come in, to kick in and say to these folks, look, it's one thing now that you have a job. One, I need you to remember who created it for you. It was a Republican. Two, I need you to praise the capitalist who got you the job. Or if you happen to be the capitalist, you need to go to number one. Thank Donald Trump for making your life easier. This is what we have to be thankful for. The Economic Policy Institute says jobs are essential to improving black communities. Increased employment would help people in these communities lift themselves out of poverty. In addition, because poor economic conditions are an important causal factor behind poor educational outcomes and high crime rates are correlated with high unemployment rates, creating job opportunities would improve educational outcomes and reduce crime. There's no doubt about this. In Trump's first 6 months in office, he's created over 1 million jobs, and in the same period, Barack Obama has lost 4 million. What began with Carrier, where Trump used his magic wand to save 1,000 jobs, continues now with many other companies, and these companies are out there looking for black employees, good ones. And let me tell you, I think the one service that Obama did to blacks is he says, look, I can't get you a job. So blacks are like, whenever I get a job, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to treasure it. I'm not going to squander it. I hope that's the case. Yeah, look, unlike Obama, Trump plays call pocket. He doesn't refer to the obscure fake unemployment numbers. 29-year lows, by the way. He tells you where he's going to create jobs, and there's no misunderstanding. And blacks are going to get that, and they're going to support this man. I promise you.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.